not only as David Campos, the district supervisor, but I want to speak about as David Campos, the individual. I was born in Guatemala, country in Central America, and I was closeted until I was 26 years old. And for those of us who are members of the LGBT community, I can tell you that the process of coming out, especially coming out as a Latino, Latina, is not an easy process. It's actually a process that's even more difficult when you talk about members of the transgender community who face even more challenges. So for me, as a gay Latino man, to go from the incredible high of what happened in the last few days with the United States Supreme Court issuing a ruling that basically says that the United States Constitution protects people like me, to go from that high to seeing this was a very painful experience. It was very painful because the fact is that as queer people, we are a part of every community. And the mission has always had that queer presence. For every single moment of its existence, the mission has had queer people living in it. And so it was very painful to see this. And it was important for me, not only as a supervisor, but as a human being, to call this out for what it is. I believe it is an act of hate. It is a hate crime. It's being investigated as such. And when a hate crime happens, whether it's against a member of the LGBT community or against a member of any group in our community, we have a responsibility to call it out for what it is. And the thing about hate is that it has to be called out and there has to be accountability. But I think it's also important when you look at the mission and what the mission has been going through for the last few months, to make sure that this act of hatred does not define this community. That we make it clear that the individual or individuals who committed this heinous crime do not reflect the values of this mission community. We are not going to let this act of hatred define who we are as a community. We're not going to let this act of hatred divide us. And the reason why it was important for those of us who wanted a response, for us to come together, was to show that we are united, that la misión está unida. That's the message that we want to send today. I have been around for many years, but I can tell you that I have never in my life seen the level of organizing that has happened because of the mission in the last few weeks. More than 1,000 people came to City Hall to call out the displacement, this housing crisis that is hurting every member of our community. More than 1,000 people came to testify before the Board of Supervisors. And we are not going to let this divide this community that is as united as it has ever been. We are not